Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean on the Rock Rage Radio Network. I am here with a new friend that first time we're meeting, but we're going to have a chat. Mr. Johnny Nasty Boots, how are you?
I'm really good and excited to talk with you, man.
Well, I appreciate it. So, where are you sitting right now? Where do you live?
I'm living in Hollywood right now. I'm originally from Mexico City, but I have been living in LA since two years and a half so far.
And how are you finding the scene there? What's it like? I always like to ask people what the scene in Los Angeles is like.
It's cool. I really like that. It's a very musical city, and it's great for the rock scene here. There's so many places to to have exposure and perform and meet really cool musicians. It's everybody comes to LA, so I think it's one of the cities that if you're doing rock and roll, you have to be in LA.
Awesome. And in terms of venues, I mean, I've talked to a few people, and I guess it depends on what genre they're part of, but there's still a lot of venues in that city to play, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot. It's like, of course, you have the Whiskey Go Go, you have the Viper Room, the Rainbow. That it's not technically a venue, but now they're throwing a lot of shows, so it's always cool to hang there and play. And you have the Redwood Bar, and there's a lot of places. I really enjoy to play here in LA. I remember the first 6 months that I was living here. I play around 30 shows in 6 months, and
Wow.
it was literally everywhere from Compton to East LA to downtown, West Hollywood, everywhere. So it's really cool. And I still haven't played probably only like the half of the venues. It's amazing.
That's really cool. So for anybody that doesn't, I mean, I've only been there once, but I do know the landscape because I have friends that are there. Um, East LA, is that still kind of a rough and tumble area?
Yeah, that was crazy. I played in a backyard show with some friends, and it was insane. The police show up, not for the party, but they arrest a guy right next door and another guy right next door. So it was wild. It was so much fun. It was rock and roll, definitely.
Right on. So in terms of what you've been doing, tell us a little bit about, I guess, what you've been doing career-wise, how things are going for you, what you're doing with your material, those types of things.
Yeah, well, I start Johnny Nasty Boots performing in 2015 in Mexico. Um, and I first started playing, kind of like more blues oriented stuff. Like literally, it was my vocals, my guitar, and my slide, and playing stuff like Robert Johnson and Mississippi Fred McDowell, kind of Delta blues and country blues. It was so much fun. But I start, composing and writing music, but I was not like wanting to perform it in a only an acoustic set, so
Yep.
I put together a band, and I was start playing everywhere in Mexico City. I recorded my first album 2015 in Texas, and that album was did a lot for me. I had like a sponsorship from bands. I was playing in the radio everywhere in Mexico, but at some point Mexico was I reached the limit. I got a number one radio in Mexico City, but I was wanting more. So I moved to LA in 2022. And last year, I recorded a new EP that it's all these songs that I have been presenting. And yeah, that's pretty much the story so far, like very, very compact version.
So we're here in Canada. So for anybody that I guess doesn't understand what the climate for people is like in the United States, was it hard for you to basically immigrate from Mexico City to Los Angeles? Was it a big process?
It was, yeah, it was wild. I left everything behind, like family, friends. I was literally trying to go into the adventure of rock and roll. I was not planning on moving here. Like I was wanting, since probably the first time that I came to LA to play at the Whiskey Go in 2017, like my first LA tour. I was very intrigued and very interested in seeing, like, okay, what will happen if I move to Los Angeles? What happen if I go to one of the most important cities for rock and roll? But it was until 2022 I get a show at the Whiskey Go Go, and I was supposed to be here for only 10 days, and I start booking more shows. Like I was telling you, there's a lot of places where to play. So I start like contact everybody, like, hey, I'm going to LA for 10 days. I would love to have a show here. I would love to have a show there. Uh, but a lot of people were like, hey, we're right now we're completely booked. But are you gonna be here in March? Are you gonna be here in February? So I start thinking, okay, I think I'll stay a few more months and see what happened. So that fact, I was like carrying just one luggage with a few t-shirts.
Yeah.
It was tough. I don't have family here, so it was really really interesting period. But I think it's part of the adventure, and no regrets of moving here.
Well, and I mean, so you mentioned you left friends, you left family. So did you have any contacts or whatsoever? It was just people that you had met when you were booking the shows. That like, did you know anybody beforehand?
I, a few people that I was just like meet on my previous tours here, but not really like support and a lot of people there. So it was meeting more new people every show, and I was very lucky of getting help by new friends.
Right.
So that
Uh,
was like, hey, you have a place to stay? Do you want to stay 10 days on my couch or whatever? So that was, I'm very lucky.
well, I mean, look at it this way, because there's a whole lot of dues paying that doesn't seem to happen anymore in the music business, right? Like everybody kind of goes and does something on YouTube, and if they're going to be famous or instantly famous, and you don't hear the stories of people couch surfing to do shows, or people eating macaroni and cheese five
Yeah.
days of the week, right? So I mean, without sounding too, I don't know, silly. I mean, the fact that you're paying some dues, I think, is giving you a little bit of a throwback to how it used to be done.
Yeah, it's really interesting how the music connection work, and especially when it's real, when there's like rock and roll, it's really cool.
So, in terms of, so you're playing a lot. You're playing mostly like in and around the Los Angeles area. That's mostly where you're playing.
Mm, that's how it used to be. Right now, I'm very lucky that I have been booking more tours like outside the LA area, outside California. I did a couple of tours last year, mostly on the West Coast, Portland, Seattle, Idaho. All that area was really cool. But this year, a couple of months ago, I went on tour with Faster Pussycat, and we were everywhere. We played like was 30 shows, 25 shows in a length of 5 weeks. It was insane. We were playing like every night. So that was amazing. I'm planning another tour for September, October, that I'm releasing this EP. This EP is going to be released in September, October. I still don't know the exact date, but I know it's going to happen on
Nice.
that period. So I'm planning a larger tour all over America, and hopefully I can go to Canada very soon.
Well, yeah. I mean, you like Canada. I mean, you want to come up here in the summertime, like
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
the winter's not so much fun, but and the Faster Pussycat thing is cool because they're one of the few bands that still kind of go out for multiple shows. Like a lot of the bands do fly out dates and stuff on weekends. Um, LA Guns is another one of those bands that still do a lot of
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah, actually, Danny broke his arm during tour, and we had Johnny from LA Guns replacing him on bass.
Oh, nice, very
Yeah,
good.
so it's funny you mentioned both.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Sean Duncan's a bud of mine. I've had him on the show a few times, and I talked to him quite a bit. And he his schedule is really weird. And for them to go out and tour, I mean, they'll do I don't know 4 or 5 weeks in a bus, like used to do the
Yeah,
old way, right? So,
yeah,
um, so you say you have an EP coming out.
yeah. That's correct.
How many songs are you going to have on that?
5 songs.
Okay. All written by yourself. Do you have co-writers?
I on my music, I always do like everything. The arrangements, the lyrics, the composition. Um, so this EP, was very challenging for me to do it because I'm playing mostly all the instruments except
Okay.
the drums.
Okay.
I was in charge of the production, so I was really taking care of everything. It was really really cool to do it this way.
That's cool. And I mean, I know like I'm a musician myself, and I help people, and I have an artist that I work with, but I also help people do tracks, and it's cool that in this day and age, it's not like it used to be, right? Like you can do it in a bedroom, you can do it with an iPad. There's all kinds of ways
Yeah.
you can do it. How did you actually physically go into a studio, or did you go into a smaller studio, or how was it that you made it happen?
I I like to go and do it the old school way, like in the same room playing. In this case was like mostly tracked live with the drummer that I was playing at that time. So I probably did like 7, 8 takes, I don't know, until I was like really happy with the results, and then uh, okay, let's do overdubs, let's do all that stuff. And I was having this engineer called Mark Rains, that it's an amazing musician. He does everything: production, mixing. So he was helping me with the engineering and he knows his studio. The studio, it's called Station House. It's here in Echo Park,
Okay.
that it's another area here in LA. And I was working with him for 20 days, if I'm correct. um, he helped me with all that, and then i I had the opportunity of working with Alan Johans, that he has worked with Queens of the Stone Age and Damn Crooked Bolters, Chris Cornell. He's the band member of 11, a mythical band from grunge band.
Yep.
So he did the mixing of the EP, all the songs. So I'm very lucky that I had a really really talented team behind on the technical stuff.
That's amazing. A good friend of mine actually mentioned Street Queens of the Stone Age. Good friend of mine that's from here. He lives in my area. It was on tour with them. He was a lighting director. He was doing all their lights, and he actually just came back because the singer had to get
Oh,
surgery. And yeah, so
yeah, very very unfortunate situation.
yeah. Well, and you know what? People don't realize when you're on a tour that big, and I mean, he was posting a lot of stuff. It's not just the people on stage. I mean, everybody
Oh,
that's
yeah.
involved with the band has a hand in it, so it affects everybody. Where did the name Johnny Nasty Boots come from?
Well, there's this song by the Rolling Stones that it's called "Can't You Hear Me Knocking,"
Yeah.
from Sticky Fingers. And on that song, the lyrics, Mick Jagger sings "Plastic Boots." So there's a live version where he sings "Nasty Boots," and I, I love the blues. Like I was telling you early, I really love the blues. So I thought, okay, Johnny Nasty Boots, that sounds like a very bluesman name.
Yeah.
So I started first using it as my nickname on internet, and then I was like, well, I think that's gonna be my stage name too. And all the time, since there's a really really cool photo, and I'm like 3 or 4 or something like that, and I'm literally standing on using some boots of my godfather, and they look like super huge,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I love the boots.
Well, I think it's cool too because I mean, part of music everybody knows is a brand. You have to create a brand, and
Yeah.
that's a huge part of it. And so I can really see. that lending itself to some neat visuals, especially for blues. So that's very cool. Last question. You're a busy man. It's probably nice there today. You probably want to go out and enjoy the day. Where do my viewers find out more about you, how they can get your tunes, take a listen?
Well, Spotify and Apple Music and all these, streaming platforms. Johnny Nasty Boots. I'm everywhere. You can listen to my latest two singles, Soho and Howlin' and Dying, that it's part of the upcoming EP. And I'm literally everywhere where this new generation demand us to stay. TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. I have a website too, Johnny Nasty Boots. I'm really easy to find. So I would love everybody to join me in this journey and just get in contact. And I will be happy of saying hi to everybody.
Fantastic. Sir, thank you so much. I'm glad to have met you.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck. Let's stay in touch and have a great summer.
Thank you. You as well. Take care, man.
Back on the Rock Rage Radio after this.